Hi everyone. Many of you know me in-game as Vengeful Cheez-It, and I'm here to give a tutorial on Juggernaut. So Juggernaut comes off as a very slow, very easy to understand class, very simplistic, but there's actually a lot of depth, or there can be a lot of depth, depending on how you play him and depending on the situations in which you utilize his abilities. But before all of that, I wanted to give a quick overview of his kit. So Juggernaut comes equipped with the Instigator shotgun, which is capable of shooting up to 9 pellets per shot in a very predictable square-like pattern. As you can see here, it almost follows the reticle exactly. If all 9 pellets land on an enemy target, it will do 134 damage. It is not capable of allowing headshots, so the damage will only be 134 damage at max. You also have a bayonet affixed to the gun, which does 165 damage. Decent amount of damage, good amount of damage at close range. It's also able to cleave multiple people if they're close enough. And much like every other class, you have a kick, which does 75 damage. On your E key, you have a shield ability, which has 1,100 health, lasts about 5 seconds, has a cooldown of 10. So use it often. Use it to block pathways, use it to block damage. If any damage is coming to you, you can stop it. Don't hesitate to click the button. It will impede both allied and enemy progress, so this is important because you can aggravate a lot of people, both enemy and ally. You don't want to aggravate your teammates, so try to avoid impeding allied progress. On your Q ability, you have Armored Protocol, which is unlike other abilities in the game since it's a toggleable type ability. Uses fuel at 15% per second and lasts for a decent amount of time, as you can see here. It prevents damage from the front by 52%. Only the front should be kept in mind, so if anybody's shooting at you and you want to not die, you want to look at them the entire time. If they get behind you, they will do full damage. On your shift key, you have sprint, which also uses your fuel bar at 10% per second. So this should be kept in mind that it uses fuel as well, because both your armor protocol and sprint used at the same time will drain 25% per second. So you can utilize both for about 4 seconds at a time. So it's a balancing act. It's a whole balancing act of using Juggernaut. So Juggernaut's sprint ability has other abilities attached to it. If you sprint and jump, you can throw yourself into the air. Uses a small chunk of fuel. If you are in the air, you can hit spacebar and it will drop you down. You can use this to actually run around. It'll keep you grounded in zero-G areas. You can also use that drop down offensively. It will do 100 damage if you hit anybody and has a small radius. So you can jump up and slam down and hit people, and it will launch them, actually. It does some decent knockback, and you can use that to kind of throw people off if you come out of nowhere or you're above them. You can also mix this into your combat. So when it comes to combat, utilizing all abilities of Juggernaut, you can do a lot of damage. So there's the 3-hit combo. The 3-hit combo starts with a shell, a stab, and then a kick. Now, if you do all of these quickly, they cancel each other out animation-wise and allow you to do up to 374 damage if everything hits. So you do shoot, stab, kick, and you do a lot of damage here. Better example, we'll do it on a new robot here. You do a lot of damage and some knockback. Now, if you mix your slam attack on your sprint with it, you can do up to 474 damage. So you can jump up, slam down, shoot, stab, kick, and you do 474 damage. It's a lot of damage. You end up nuking a lot of classes in the game. So the wall ability, also known as Hollow Deflector, can have more advanced uses as well. You can obviously use it to block damage, but you can also use it to block off enemy movement. So put it in front of somebody, they won't be able to get you. You can utilize this aspect in many ways. You can block off pathways. Most pathways are about the same size as Juggernaut's shield or smaller. So you can actually block off whole pathways with it. You can also use it to block off health stations. So say you want to stop somebody from getting here, you can block it off, fight them, they won't be able to get there. Or you yourself can block yourself in and heal up. without being bothered for a short amount of time. Allow you to fill up your massive 600 health pool. You can also use the wall to separate people from their team. So say you have one person that you want to specifically target, or you want to chunk them off from the rest of the group. If you aim your reticle slightly next to them, or off of their body, and you fire it, your wall actually has a range, so it'll go past them. You put down the wall and stop them from being with their team for a short amount of time. This helps a lot in hallways. You can block people off and pull this technique off. It will not work if you are close and you're aiming at them. It'll actually block you off from your target. It'll put it closer to your body. So you can walk up to an enemy, put a wall down behind them if they're running away, use a kick, kill them, or whatever, continue to fight them without being bothered by other enemies. Now, when it comes to movement, Juggernaut actually has a lot of techniques to allow him to move much faster than he normally does. So you walk at a brisk pace, you can sprint at a much quicker pace, though much slower than other classes, which should be kept in mind. But you can mix this along with shotgun impulses from flying through 0G, bunny hopping, very good at conserving momentum, very good techniques. So as an example, you can jump into 0G, use your shotgun to throw yourself, reload mid-flight so you don't land without ammo, slam, keep running. You can also do flying through the air here, go through, and keep bunny hopping on the way out, which will conserve momentum. So those are many ways to, there are many ways to allow yourself to move. Another quick technique is actually one you can do with small ceilings. So see, there's a low ceiling here. If you jump yourself, and then you can throw yourself through the hall very, very quickly without using fuel. So you can bunny hop through the hall here after hitting your head on the ceiling, and throw yourself through the hall at a much quicker pace. This is actually done in many places on many different maps. You'd have to try them out and find all of the quick places you can do that. So some other things to note about Juggernaut. If you melee while you are sprinting, you'll actually perform a different type of melee. So if you sprint and you run, you'll shove your enemy much farther away than if you were to stagger. So you can choose which melee ability to use depending on the situation. So say you want to keep an assassin away from you, you can push him, hit him for a lot of damage, does the same exact damage as the knife, so you're not losing any damage here when you do that. Or if you want to keep a larger target next to you, say another Juggernaut or a Titan, you can stab him and continue to fight him that way. So there's a lot of different ways you can use the melee depending on the situation. Also should be noted that Juggernaut is actually a very good objective runner. So normally people say don't let the Juggernaut get the blitzball or the battery or whatever, and most of the time they'd be right. But when it comes to it, if you need to cap or you need to do anything, you need a lot of health, Juggernaut's very good at it. But you want to try and keep your fuel in mind as well, so you can't just sprint all the entire time and not have fuel for your ability. So you want to use 0G areas, so if you throw yourself, you can armor up midair, use your impulse, slam down, and you'll be protected the whole way through the 0G zone. But make sure you're facing the enemies that you don't want to die from. So if you're throwing yourself through 0G, you armor up and you have some people behind you, you want to turn to them and fire backwards. So you want to keep trying to throw yourself away from the action, but at the same time keep yourself as heavily armored as possible. Now it should also be noted that Juggernaut is very good at countering assassins and wraiths, so if an enemy team has a lot of assassins and wraiths, try picking Juggernaut. It can help a lot. You can keep them at a safe distance with a kick or a shove ability or a wall, and you can shotgun them down, or you can stab them with your knife when they get really, really close. Try doing the 3 combo on them if you can. It do 374 damage, as said before. Does a lot of damage. Will basically delete them from the face of the earth. There are things you should avoid, however. Try to avoid, much like other classes, Harrier's laser tag will apply a 35% debuff to you. You don't want to get tagged by that because it will basically nullify what Juggernaut does best, and that's being the wall. You also want to avoid fully wound up vanguards. They output very, very high amounts of damage when that gun is fully wound up. You do not want to get hit by that at all. It will remove you, and it will also delete your walls very quickly. So it'll chew through 1,100 health in less than 2 seconds, if that even. So you should definitely keep in mind what Juggernaut does best. Now I want to end this short tutorial video with a highlight reel of some of my favorite clips from my time with Juggernaut so far. I think they help to highlight a lot of what he's actually capable of, a lot of what he can actually do, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did playing it. So, here you go.